Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Last Best Hope for Conversation, your Babylon 5 podcast. Today we are talking Zahadun, the episode 22 of season 3. Joining me in the White Star is the podcast mom, Karen.
Hello.
My podcast brother, Lou.
Ooh, I don't want to be in the White Star.
Yeah, that's true.
And I am your bus driver, Jesse Jackson. Okay, we're in the bus, maybe. 3 seasons. We are over halfway there.
Woo-hoo.
Quick thoughts on this season finale, Lou?
I loved it. I thought it was excellent. It was a jump above all the previous episodes that we've seen for quite a while. So I really liked it, and emotional and some good reveals, and it ended on a couple of cliffhangers. So bring on season 4.
Yeah, nice. Karen?
Samesies. This episode was amazing. I thought I have a tiny little nit with it, and it's probably a similar thing to what Lou says. We'll get into it. It's not a big deal, though. And I also really loved our little cameo from Justin, quote unquote.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was firing on all cylinders, and it's setting up for a great next season, I think.
Good. Yeah, I remember loving this one when I watched it the first time. I watched it twice this week, both times really engaged. There's basically only one storyline. There's a little bit of Londo getting promoted and has to go back to the court, and he talks a little bit about that. But basically, this is all about Anna Sheridan coming back and wanting John to go to Zahadun. Only if you go to Zahadun can I tell you anything.
I would say that while there aren't many storylines, there's a lot of threads they're pulling.
Yeah, I agree.
If that makes sense.
It is. So let's start there where we ended last week, where Anna Sheridan showed up, and we get a little bit of recap from I thought a very effective narrating voiceover. But basically we get to, and basically Anna is going, I see. Why are you in my husband's bedroom, and why is he in a robe? So Karen, let's talk about those initial scenes. What are your thoughts?
If you guys will recall, last episode I asked about Ms. Sheridan getting a little snippy.
Yeah.
Thinking that she should be able to assert her wifely position even after she had been declared dead. And we find out why. That she thinks Delenn knows and is being deceptive. And that all gets explained as well. I really thought the acting was amazing. Essentially, we get Delenn and John, who have been interrupted here. And we talked about their crazy town banana pants creepiness, where she's watching them sleep and all that. But then it gets one-upped by Anna, who is very robotic. And I thought Melissa Gilbert did a great job here. Starts off emotionless, but also snippy with John. And she continues on. She has emotions, but they're very surface. They're like a mask, I think. It's what it seems like to me, at least. And it really sets up the episode rather well. We get a very quick progression on that storyline in this episode, with John leaving the message and his going to Zahadum with Anna. And I also liked that he mentions that whole thing with time travel and all that, where he says, maybe you telling me was changing things and I have to go now, when he's doing that whole thing. I loved them setting that up, where Anna's playing the jealous wife, but she's really just trying to manipulate him. So very cool.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, I thought the opening of the episode was obviously with his Sheridan's wife coming back is quite an emotional moment for that character. And I thought Bruce Boxleitner played it rather well. He's going through a lot of different emotions and understandable if you try to put yourself in that character's position. So I thought it was really well done. And Melissa Gilbert, she looks so different than she does from Little House on the Prairie. So she's actually very attractive in this episode. So I have not seen much of her work when she was in this age range. I was a little taken back by her, to be honest. Actually didn't even recognize her at the beginning of the previous episode, but until I heard her voice, and I thought, oh, that sounds familiar. I like the symbology of and they really used it quite a bit, of the broken globe, shattering everybody's world in effect. And it also blows the doors off of Delenn's bad habit of holding back information from John as well. And this episode really pushes that forward as well. Yeah, it was some really powerful stuff. A lot of great stuff for Bruce Boxleitner to chew on. And I thought he did a really good job. But man, that guy's got untouchable hair.
Yes, he has great hair. Yeah, I love this idea that Anna is the idea of, oh, well, of course they lied to you, right? Because she is anti-Vorlon and anti-Minbari, and therefore anything they've done is bad. She definitely gives the implication that they knew she was alive and just they lied to him, which does lead to a little bit of conflict between John and Delenn. I do love her. That's the first thing you say to me. And then also you had the really funny scene after the doctor's note where I've never been examined that much, except by you, implying that she is their intimacy. And I think Bruce does a great job of playing a what the F really well. Wait a minute. This is, should I be happy? Should I not be happy? What's going on? I moved on. I don't know if are either of you caught up on Quantum Leap, the new series?
No.
Okay. Then I will skip that comparison. And yeah, I just really thought this started out very quickly. Marcus is doing every test he can, and everything says she's human. She's 100% human. She is, but John really just doesn't feel right. Now, I will tell you, I missed the significance of the two screens of showing the Caroline, right, and Anna. Did you guys pick that up watching it?
I got the fact that he was gonna tell Sheridan that she had signs of also being manipulated by the shadows, but did it have more significance than that?
Yeah, I did not pick up. That's when he knew that it wasn't his Anna.
And then we see that Marcus, not Marcus, the doctor, Franklin sees it. And then I like that it's really subtle.
Yeah.
That we see it, he sees it, he gets the connection, and then he gives it to John, but it's not a huge plot point. It's just that John now is in on it. We see him with the little iPad thing. Yeah. And it leads to a lot of good stuff between him and Garibaldi too.
Yeah. So Anna says, I can't answer any of your questions. And he says, look, I'm not going anywhere till you at least tell me what's going on. So she tells her version of the truth of what happened. And he does agree to go to Zahadun. You already mentioned, Karen, that as a often time travel trope, they change things to think they're going to fix it, but they actually have done what they've always done.
Right.
And that is him doing this, you assume, doesn't change things. At least that's the implication I got. So, Lou, let's talk a little bit about Anna's story and what's going on.
Yeah, that was the part of the episode where I think even Sheridan was realizing that she's not the same person that she was. There's no attempt at affection. She doesn't want a hug or no physical contact. So that I found that rather odd. And that was your first warning sign that I knew that something was up with her, even before the doctor did his scan. And it's weird if they're doing a full physical on her and he just notes that rash on her neck or whatever, like a full body thing. Wouldn't they be doing some x-rays and stuff like that too, just to check it out? So that should have shown up already, neither here nor there.
And
But her version of what happened on the planet just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And the thing that was sticking out in my mind was that there was a line where Sheridan said that she would never agree to something like this. So whatever it was that has happened to her has to be pretty invasive. And it also clarified, and I guess I just forgot about this in previous episodes, but they're using humans as the matrix to power their ships, which now makes more sense about what the telepaths were doing or trying to do in the previous episodes. That, as I said, this episode answered a lot of questions, which I really appreciated. And it's going to be interesting to see where things go, because like you said, the inference that is there that what John did, he has always done, therefore he hasn't changed anything, but there's still the possibility that he might have. I guess we'll find out quickly enough in the next season. And a little bit of nitpicking here again is this Kosh, and I understand that they're a different level of being and whatnot, and time is not linear probably for them, but I just found his convenient appearances in this episode a little annoying to be.
Yeah, I remember thinking, obviously, somehow Sheridan is going to get out of this, right? Cliffhanger.
You would think, since there's two more
because
seasons.
There's two more seasons.
And we know he's in that follow-up movie too. So
yeah,
he's the star.
He's the star. So
although being the star doesn't really guarantee anything, but we do know, since this has already happened, that he'll.
But I like the idea that he's at least trying that he is going to Zahedun to not only get his questions answered, but to possibly not have Centauri Prime being wasted. He's doing something out of the goodness of his heart.
You could quibble, is that a bad thing or no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think it was a nice scene that Morden's friend, I assume, Londo gets a little, hey, you need to leave the station. And that was a nice little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Oh. And since I knew what was happening, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you better.
But we never really did find out if he left or not.
No, we didn't.
And we understood that it was because he knew the shadows were coming, and then they end up coming, and they don't even disguise themselves, which I think is telling. They think they're gonna be able to decimate them.
Yes. Once again, we have the worthless straw. That I think is a wasted storyline. This great machine, because we never use it so far, and they kind of address that. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. Let's just go to Zahedun. Let's go. We get some explanation that Jakar has arranged for them to have some big ass guns, big ass bombs,
Moabs.
And I thought that was a nice little bit of. I remember the first time, like, oh yeah, that's going to be interesting. They could use them later, and that is a signature Sheridan move, because that's how he beat. That's how he fought the Minbari the first time. And I did think that Jakar and Susan did a good job of being the exposition, yet still showing in character, and it didn't feel like they were just, oh, I'm here just to tell you what's going on. What do you guys think of that, Karen?
I agree. It was definitely show, not tell.
Yeah.
And I think I can't fault any of the acting in this episode. They were all in character. They all showed emotion. They all showed us that tensions were high. I also appreciate that they did address the planet that, they couldn't get through to draw. And who knows if he was doing something in the background, but all of that is subverted because the shadows leave. So at the very least, we get the idea that none of these plans they were making would have ever happened anyway. I did love that how it's Chekhov's bombs. Yes. Essentially, they show them and everything. And I didn't realize until they got armed, until Sheridan armed them, that's what he and Garibaldi were talking about. And I love that he had this code. The next time I talk to you, we'll be talking about the weather. And that's his clue that Garibaldi has loaded, I'm assuming, has loaded the weapons on the White Star. Okay. And Garibaldi is just not sure whether this is a great idea, but he's my captain and he's got a strategy and we got to stick to it. And the fact that he gets that Anna's not what she seems to be either. So they got to do something about it. I love that. My nit comes here in that I love that Garibaldi was in it, but again, I feel like he's underused. He is the head of security. He should have been on the, what do you call it? The CNC. No, the CNC. Yeah. He should have been there, part of it, instead of going off in his ship or whatever. But I understand why that happened. It had to, in order for that cliffhanger to happen. And I'm interested in seeing where that goes too. Mm-hmm. We know that him being absorbed into that shadow ship, does that mean he's going to turn out like Anna? Because they have mentioned several times that once you're part of a shadow ship, you've been changed irrevocably. What's going to happen with him? Either there's huge implications there. Mm-hmm. One of my little side notes, I forgot to mention this before, but I love that Anna and John's wedding photo is his real wedding photo with her. That was fantastic. I love that.
I wonder if he still has it.
I'm assuming at least one of them has it. That I don't think it was acrimonious. I don't remember whether it was a horrible divorce or not.
I looked at that because I was curious. Like when he rewatches this, to go, "Damn it!" Or
I don't think it was a. I don't remember. I remember it happening because I have a fascination with Bruce Boxleitner. And I loved that they got married and all that. They had a ranch with horses. It was so cool. But I honestly don't remember there being a big thing. They're both remarried now to other people.
Yeah, from 95 to 2011.
Yeah, it was quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long relationship in terms of entertainers being married to each other. Because you have all those pushes and pulls. Anyway, I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I love that their wedding picture was their actual wedding picture. And I think they did a really great job of, and again, showing, not telling, giving us all this information with Anna and Justin and Morden and what positions they all play in this. That Anna was a pawn, Morden bought into it, Justin's this middleman, quote unquote. And then at the end, we see that Garibaldi might also have one of those endings. So I love that they set that whole thing up. And then right at the end, we're like, oh my God, is that going to happen to him too? And I didn't catch the symbolism of the snow globe and then the globe at the end being overhead of the Zahadum base or whatever. That's fantastic. I love that you guys brought that to my attention. Very cool.
Yeah, Lou.
What really powers this episode is the characters' actions are in line with their previously established traits, especially Sheridan. You just knew that he was going to Zahadum to end this conflict one way or the other, and his solution was pretty drastic. I find it hard to believe that he could outdive a nuclear blast, but we'll see what happens. And there must have been a portal really close to when he jumped that he's gone to somewhere else, we have to assume, because he's coming back. How that exactly works out, I don't know. And the conversation between him and Garibaldi was fantastic. They're talking around this thing. They're not bringing it up exactly what they're doing. And as Karen mentioned, they have this weather reference thing going on. But the expressions on Garibaldi's face when he looks at the manifest and realizes what Sheridan's asking of him was just really well done. I I think it's the best piece of acting that Garibaldi's done all season. So I really enjoyed that, and this is why I like this episode, because the characters were acting within character and not serving the story. Even though this is obviously a very big turning point, I think, for the series. We'll have to see how it plays going forward. If it's just that John just done what he's done to keep the timeline that we've seen intact, that's okay. But I'm hoping that they're going to use this to deviate from what we're expecting, because we know the ending already of the series, and I would like to see a different ending.
Yeah.
Whether that happens or not, we'll have to see. But yeah, it was just really well done stuff there between all the actors. The principal actors of the show were pretty good. Even Franklin wasn't that annoying this episode, so that's always a bonus. Yeah, it was really well done. And then when we get to Zahadum, I guess that's what we're going to talk about next.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, I did agree that Garibaldi is just going through, and I love you and I didn't trust each other to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've now grown to respect and understand each other. So I need you to do this. No questions asked. And if you've got it done, just talk to me about the weather. And I love that Garibaldi's okay. Like, I ain't happy, but I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also, you saw Melissa Gilbert just not quite there. Like when she's walking next to John and he talks to Garibaldi, she doesn't, oh, hi, Michael, because I think they've known each other no, they hadn't known each other. Mm-mm. She wouldn't have known him.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There's
She's
nothing there. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love that John knows that right off the bat.
Right, yeah.
It's not just a husband-wife thing. I think his instincts are greater than that he gets that there's something horribly wrong here. I
got a point.
Go ahead.
Just before we get to Doom, what I really loved about this episode was the message that John left for Delenn. Because I thought they were going to go to and say, oh, we're going to have to reset this relationship, and they're going to have to rework to get their trust regained again. I'm so happy that they're not doing that, and that John told her flat out that he does love her. And so that won't be a reset. So that was another big bonus in this episode for me. I'm glad I just remembered that.
They actually advance it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't set it back.
She says, I love you. He returns it in the video. He is angry, and they work through that. At least he works through it and leaves her that very beautiful message. I thought it was great. I thought her looking crushed at the end was very in character of her again. Yeah, we've set things up, and we go to Zahadun. We go through. By the way, a little side note. I guess earlier when this first came off with the episode where Kosh was killed, Bruce said something like, so I'm not going to go to Zahadum, am I? He goes, yeah, you're going to go. What's going to happen? You're going to die. What? We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
We have tea, and we meet. Now, I'm going to say this quote. No, I'm going to save it because one of our email people made this point, and I'm going to let them make it, and we can talk about it afterwards. A fun little discussion. Basically, they say that the Vorlons are our parents. They want us to behave and get along and everything be nice and orderly. And the Shadows want us to get better. They want us through conflict, and that we're the survival of the fittest.
Yep.
And so that's the two different sides of this conflict. And Anna and Morden and the man in the middle, Justin, are all pro Shadows. Look, we can build this. We'll be better, and we'll be on top. So, Lou, go ahead, lead us off, and then we'll have a discussion on this.
I didn't really understand why Justin was even in the episode, to be honest. Like, why wasn't that dialogue just between his wife and it was nice to have Morden there too, but they didn't really need that actor. I love to see the guy. He's been in a lot of stuff. I remember him from the Cloud Miners and Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah.
It was great to see him, but his purpose was nebulous at best. I don't know what the thinking was behind that, but for whatever reason, that they had him there. As to the reveal of what the Vorlons and the Shadows are up to, it's one of those things where I knew when I found what it was going to be, I was going to be a little underwhelmed. It's like the Observers on Fringe. You're waiting for all these seasons. Okay, what are these guys? What's their purpose? Blah, blah, blah. Or on Lost, what's the secret of the island? And when you finally get there, but oh, really? That's it? So I had a little bit of that, but it wasn't too disappointing. It was just, oh, okay. So we're basically pitting reason against emotion is basically what they're doing here. So that part of it was okay. I'm curious to see, I assume Morden's dead. Is this the last we're going to see this actor, or can he come back? Or was that guy that was on the Babylon 5 going to take over that role that gave him the Londo the warning? We'll have to see. And I'm assuming that all the characters on Zadoom, except for Sheridan, are dead. And there was a weird, I don't know if this is on the DVD, but there was a weird cut edit when Sheridan pulled his gun and he fired it. You didn't see really who he fired it at. And the next moment, then he's out on the balcony. And I was going like, did we lose a scene here or something? I don't know what happened there.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, he specifically in Lurker's Guide was asked about that, and he said you only have so many minutes.
Yeah.
And so the implication was they had a pretty bad battle and that he had escaped enough to get out of that.
He was messed up.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think there's a little bit of...
It was just jarring, that's all. It was just too bad because the flow of the episode was good, right? So it was
right. And we do get what happened through all that. We just don't know specifics. And again, it's fine because he drops a bomb on him. So who cares who he shot on?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who he shot. And the shadow dude came in and lurked around. So could have been him.
I just would have liked to see, if he had shot Morden, I would have liked to seen that because that's a character we've been following for a while. So what happened to him? Well, that old saw now because the character's not dead unless you see them shot in the head.
Yep.
But I guess getting vaporized is a pretty good alternative.
I'm assuming 100% that Anna said because she was out on that balcony and she's screaming and But again, don't assume or you make an ass out of it. It's funny. I'm doing this Moira Rose thing from Schitt's Creek. She says, don't assume or else you make an ass out of all of us. She just subverts it completely. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. You guys continue. You're doing wonderful.
The stuff on Zahadum, I assumed that Justin was there because Anna's blanked. Morden has bought in 100%. And he's in the middle, like he says, a middleman. He is that kind of, he's the person that they think can talk John into doing this. John already hates Morden and he knows that Anna's not who she says she is. So what choice do they have? They got to bring this Justin guy in to try and convince him to come with them. And don't be like Anna. We don't want you to be blanked. We will if we have to. And I just assumed that was his role. And Ron Campbell, wow, one of the original studio actors. He was a prolific teacher in LA. He taught a lot of people. And he was in that Star Trek episode, but he also was on Little House on the Prairie, which I love to see.
Corey.
Yeah.
Who? Jeff Corey. Ron Campbell was the messenger. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff Corey. Okay. No, you're right. Jeff Corey. Sorry. No, Ron Swanson. No. No, Jeff Corey. Sorry.
Okay.
He's been in a million things.
Yeah.
And one of those actors that, like now it's Law and Order, but back then it was like Quincy and Heart to Heart and The Love Boat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He was on pretty much all of those things, but I love that he was on Little House as a preacher a couple of episodes. I definitely recognize him from Star Trek and a lot of his genre stuff, which he did.
Yeah.
But I also watched in the actor studio every once in a while, and he popped in
Oh, okay, cool.
there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. No, I would have liked his character better if I would have understood who he was. Like, was he part
Right.
of the crew from the ship, or
Was there some significance
yeah,
to
like
him?
why was he chosen as the negotiator, for
Right.
lack of a better term? Uh, and is he in the same situation as Anna, or has one of the shadow people inhabited a human body to talk directly to Sheridan? I just didn't understand why
Right.
like he says, I'm Justin and I was the captain of the expedition or something like that. But they never
Just
explained
a
who he
one-line
was.
thing.
So yeah, just a
Yeah.
little context would have gone a long way
And
with his character.
his whole explanation of who he was when John asked him was really confusing.
Yeah.
Which is where we got our Texas Llama Shock
Oh,
shout out
okay.
this time.
So we're going to talk about that when,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I thought that was
So-
super weird, but yeah, I
So-
get where they're coming
yeah.
from with him.
So here's my headcanon, and this is just me. This has nothing to do with me knowing, this is just in my mind. Delenn says you either choose to serve the shadows, or you are put as this central processing unit in their ships,
Right.
right? And so I assume both him and Morden chose, and that's why they're not been changed, because they've agreed to serve. So they're
Right.
still on their own self. Who he was, don't know. Could have been a crew member. Don't know. I assume that someone before him made the same pitch to Justin, right? And then now Justin is making multi-marketing, right? Like I bought in, now I'm going to buy in.
Yeah. I was just sitting there. If I was
Yeah.
Sheridan, I was like, "Who the hell are you, dude?
Yeah.
Right.
Why am I even
And-
bothering with you?"
he does convey that. Who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
But then he gets sidetracked by their sales pitch to him.
Yeah.
And he hates Morden. I think
Yeah.
when he diverts from what he's saying, and he says, and he goes, "Yes, I do know who this guy is." I think he's taken away from who are he doesn't care anymore. He knows he's got to finish his plan.
Yeah.
And I do think that we're supposed to do that as well. We're supposed to follow along with and I get you 100%. I would have loved to know, hey, even if Anna had said he served with me, you can trust him.
Yeah.
Just anything.
One simple throwaway line would have gone a long way.
But again, we're armchair quarterbacks here.
Yeah. And the reason why John would not have believed anything from Morden.
No.
So
Morden's presence was actually puzzling, because we know how antagonistic John is to him. Like, why put somebody there that is going to just make the pitch harder?
Another thing that someone brought up, and so the Shadows question is, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
The Vorlons question is, who are you? So by John saying, who are you? That's
we can see.
That's a Vorlon question. I do think it was interesting, going back a little bit, Anna being queasy in the Mumbari ship, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was
because of the Vorlon technology.
Yes.
That really shows that she is programmed with these shadow, blah, 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 whatever they are, with the 1,000 letters in there.
Yeah. We get the battle that we don't see. He's bruised and battled. He's out on the balcony.
Yeah.
You can tell my South. Yeah. You can tell I'm Southern. They're at the
He's
balcony.
out on the sun deck. Yep.
Yes. And he's punching in. And by the way, last night I was rewatching it. Chris came in, wanted to show me something. And he said, "How far away?" I said, "I'm 10 minutes away." "Okay, I'm just going to sit here, and then when your show's over, I'll show you what I want to show you." And so he's, "Can you give me just a little bit?" So I was explaining just the bare minimum of that. And so I thought it was cool that he's programming the ship, and basically he's going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, kamikaze.
Kamikaze. I'm going to take down the shadow base, and
I'm assuming he had already programmed that in. He just had to
And the
Yeah.
say the
code.
command.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I think, which by the way, on a totally side note, they talk about there's new technology as we were watching the World Series, which by the way, I think the Texas Rangers won, that there is now a computerized box that the catcher pushes a button and there is a thing in the pitcher's ear that says low outside.
So he
Or
doesn't have to throw
right, he
signals
doesn't have to
anymore.
do the fingers anymore.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. So yeah, he's programmed this, he's did this, and then we hear Kosh jump, jump.
Yeah.
And
Kosh, okay, can I ask a question here
sure.
before we move on? I didn't get to mention that. I also loved that allegory. I get that okay, I understand where the Vorlons and the shadows sit now, that the shadows want to be all chaos and the Vorlons are more
Order. Lords
reason
of order,
and
lords
order.
of chaos, yeah.
I like that we finally get 100% clarification on that. It wasn't a shock. We got that feeling. But so my question is, we see that John has had some kind of effect from Kosh. He had that dream and he's had flashbacks to the dream. So has Kosh transferred a little bit of himself into John? That's my...
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm wondering too.
Yeah.
Because we see that Sinclair also had that kind of bond with the Vorlons, that maybe Delenn knows that kind of thing happened. I also liked getting to know that that's why there are telepaths, that they were planted in all these races.
Yeah.
So we see that they have been able to make changes in humanity and other races. And I'm assuming that's the same with John, that Vorlons have impressed him with whatever. And I'm not saying impressed, he's impressed. I'm saying they've given him something. And again, it's a mirror of, they've done the same with Anna, but it's the shadows and it blanks her out. And they've done this with John and it makes him better. It's very cool, that kind of dichotomy.
Yeah, the telepath reveal was very cool. I like that was very nice. I think that Kosh must have maybe John Coffey'd Sheridan a little bit because he's carrying something.
I think, or Contra or Janis Joplin, hey, take a little piece of my heart now.
Right.
Yeah.
I just got to give you a little bit of myself.
Yeah, I think I think the implication is that Kosh, because remember, Lita was looking because the new Kosh was wanting her to find out, because this is the Star Trek Contra Spock puts his essence. So at least a part of that. The new Kosh thinks that Lita has that, but Lita finds out that it's John. Yeah. So that's why he's hearing Kosh. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's explain why John had those visions or flashbacks to his dreams again in the previous episodes. So.
That maybe that was how whatever was implanted in him through that weird dream. So what's interesting to me, and I do not believe, and the listeners may be screaming at me because they've done that before in very nice ways, but I don't think they ever explain, because Kosh says, if I interfere now, I won't be able to go with you to Zahudun, and then you will die. And John's fine. If you're going to be too stubborn to help me, then I'll live with it. And then later it's because Kosh knew he would die, that they would attack him. But I wonder if Kosh didn't think he was going to be able to put a little bit of himself in there. And maybe that's why he thought John would die. I love the reveal of, from the Shadow's point, the Vorlons have cheated, right? They have broken the Prime Directive, right? To mix our metaphors, they've manipulated people so that they think of Vorlons as angels, or holy important figures. Right. They have gone in and manipulated to make telepaths. Vorlons cheat from the Shadow's perspective, and they're, of course, if you get the Vorlons to ever speak straight, they would probably be able to tell you the different side of the Shadows. I thought that was... everyone thinks they're right in a war, right?
Correct.
So we see that the shadows are saying, hey, that these guys aren't who you
Yeah.
think they are. And we're only trying to make things better. So I really do think that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
They're
villain is a
making,
hero of their story. Yeah.
and I think to a certain degree, their story is a little bit understandable. Now, and Justin even acknowledges, yes, it's sad that people die.
mhm.
That is tragic, but we will be better. But his point of we'll be on top kind of makes it a little less, you
Yeah.
know, oh,
I thought that was the most false statement that in his entire speech because they're using humans to power their ships. So do you really care about the people dying? I don't think so.
yeah,
No,
no.
he really doesn't.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
I love the way he turned when John reveals, okay, I know this isn't my Anna. I know my Anna would never have willingly served the shadows,
Yep.
which explains why Delenn said, we just assume she's dead because you either serve the shadows or you die.
Yep.
And
mhm.
die, they mean go into the ship.
Right.
And we get this, and then just all of a sudden, and you will do what you're told. He drops the mask of friendliness or things. And then we get a wonderful scene, I think, from Melissa Gilbert. I'm not your Anna, but I am as much of Anna as you can have. We can learn to love again.
Mhm.
And John has none of it. He has gone through the process of mourning his Anna. He now he can put that to bed knowing that she died with her principles. She would not serve the shadows, and then he sacrificed. He jumps. One of the other things that was in Lurker's guide is like, why did he jump? And he said, one,
Kosh told him
Kosh,
to.
do, and
Yeah.
secondly, I know I'm not going to survive if I stay on the balcony sunroom porch. If I jump, I get another few seconds to try to figure out something else.
Sure. Sure. And Kosh has, while he's been very enigmatic, he thinks that Kosh is benevolent and on his side.
Yeah.
So if he jumps like Kosh has told him to, then he does have this chance of surviving. But who knows?
So we get back. The shadow ships are gone. Garibaldi is missing. John is presumed dead. And we get a wonderful closing narration, at least from my perspective, from
I
Jakar.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. And I actually wrote it down. It says, there is greater darkness than the one we fight. It is the darkness of the soul that has lost its way. The war we fight is not against powers and principalities. It is against chaos and despair. Greater than the death of flesh is the death of hope, the death of dreams. Again, this peril we can never surrender. The future is all around of us, waiting in moments of transition to be born in moments of revelation. No one knows the shape of that future or where it will take us. We always know that it is always born in pain, which
Yeah,
I
I
thought was
love
a
that.
perfect way to end this season.
And it's his scripture quote.
Yeah,
It's from the book of Jaquan.
yeah,
I love that as well, that we also get that kind of bow
Yeah.
on the top of.
Mhm.
He was fantastic.
yes.
In his little bit that he was in the episode, he was great.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I love that we got Corwin too.
Yeah, Corwin got a little more. Yeah, okay. So, anything else we need to discuss? Anything else you want to wrap up, Karen?
I wanted to put in a little special shout out to Susan and Corwin.
Yeah,
We see very clearly that Susan is dismayed by all of this that's happened. She doesn't quite know what to do, and that's going to be a nice thread to pick up. Susan's not used to being that lost, I think. So we're going to
that's
see
well
that.
said.
I loved also seeing Delenn and Lanier with their little ritual. I'm guessing they're praying for John in that
Yeah.
moment. That was great too. And that drop in from Jakar. It's making me wonder who's going to do the voiceover in the next season. I would love for it to be Jakar. I'm guessing we'll see. Do you have any guesses on that, Lou?
I think Jakar would be the best choice. If it's
I agree.
Sheridan, that would be a spoiler. The first
Right.
episode.
He's already done it. He did it on season 2.
Yeah, I
So
think Jakar, they might save him for the last season. Maybe it'll be Londo. I think it's between those two. I would save Jakar for the last season, actually.
not Delenn.
No, because she gets a lot of the overarching storyline philosophy statements as it is. So I don't really know if she would be the best one. And we're always hearing the storyline from the viewpoint of the hero. So she could, who knows? Maybe it's Marcus. I don't know.
And yeah, he was the only the only main character that we didn't see in this episode.
Yeah.
Was Marcus.
Yeah.
I sure hope he wasn't sleeping on one of those beds on this White Star.
Right?
Yeah.
Agreed. Although there's a lot of those now,
Yeah.
Not just the White Star. There's a bunch of, there's a fleet. And I didn't bring up Dylan because I think it will be her. I don't think so, but I wanted to just see what you thought about it.
Mhm.
I would hope it's Jakar. He has been the conscience of this season quite a bit. And I love how he's transformed. He's really turned into a completely different person.
Those meddling Vorlons.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love the kind of allegory of the prisoner being reformed because he was in jail for a little bit and that gave him
His
the
40
opportunity
days and 40 nights. Yeah.
Right. To self-reflect and all that. I love that. We get that theme a couple times through the season is self-reflection and coming out on the other side of it. And just this whole season, I think we see why people are so devoted to this series was this season for me.
Yeah, I think so.
Are we going to have our guesses like we did for?
Yes, we absolutely will do that. Yeah, I thought that was fun. Yeah, I think all great questions, and I will say nothing about the opening narration. You guys will see it.
It'll be different, I'm assuming. Oh,
go.
Yeah. My thing that the other dangling thread is of course Garibaldi.
Yes.
I'm wondering. I'm toying with the idea that because maybe it's just the quality of the special effects shot, but it looked like the ship was actually inside the Vorlon ship. But I was hoping that maybe he pulled a Han Solo docking the Millennium Falcon to the back of the Imperial Starter Cruiser.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how that plays out. But whatever happens there, I'm just happy that it looks obviously to me, and I assume to everyone that watches the show, that Garibaldi's being set up to play a bigger part in the next season because I think he was criminally underused this season, terribly underused.
Agreed.
And when he was used, it was on B storylines that we really were mostly irritated with.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Yeah, especially that whatever deck 17 is, gray 17 is missing.
Yeah, exactly.
That was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see more of him. Oh, it also could be Garibaldi. Who knows? Doing the narration, but
that would be a spoiler too. Yeah.
Agreed. But they've done this main cast mostly, so we'll see.
Because it was
Sinclair, Sheridan, Susan,
yes.
Okay.
And once again,
maybe it'll be Franklin.
Oh God!
And so once again, we have the year, right? This is
right.
I love the idea that he has been consistent. Each season is a year, and we have that. All right. Let's rate, and then we'll put I want to write down predictions and questions that you want answered. Podcast Mom, ratings?
9.5 candles lit to help with Sheridan.
There's a thing in the Catholic Church where adoration, where someone will be there. Basically, the Catholics believe that after the priest blesses the host, it is actually the body of Christ. We will not go into that for a whole time, but anyway, so there will often be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, someone in that chapel thinking and praying and doing adoration. So I felt that was that because
agreed,
he touched her and she moved and he sat down. Yeah. So I felt like this.
But there's always someone there sitting vigil.
This adoration, yes, sitting vigil. Well said, yes.
Right.
So perfect. Lou?
So I'm going to go back to something I said last episode that I would rewatch All Alone in the Night to confirm that the dream sequences were the same, and they were.
Okay.
And my rating is not going to change because the issues that I had with last episode remain. And no, I'm not going to go there. I'll just leave the rating the same as it is, because the one that really bugs me is this blurting out that Susan's a telepath. Like, I just thought that was what?
Right.
So anyhow, my rating doesn't change. I was blaming it on COVID fog last week, but I'm feeling much better this week. So it's now just my normal brain fog that I have to go back to. So if that's the way it is.
Last week is all good.
Last week is all good, even though I wasn't. My analysis was. All right, for this episode, I'm going to go 10 out of 10 weather reports.
10.
Ooh, nice. Awesome. Yeah.
My quibbles weren't enough to take the score down. So.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 dress hemlines. Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
Should I up mine?
No, don't cave into peer pressure.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Go with your heart. Go with your gut.
I don't know why I made it 9.5. I don't think it's 100% perfect.
No, I get it.
But
I just thought it's a 10 because it answered so many questions, and the thrust of the story was true to all the characters' behavior.
Agreed. And
can't really ask for much more.
It's that thing that I love where it answers questions and then brings up more.
Yes.
I love that.
Which is perfect.
And it makes you want to watch season 4.
Yeah.
So. Okay, 9.75.
Okay.
9.99.
Perfect.
You guys are talking me around. I agree. There's not.
I'm the one that has to be talked around.
the flaws are very minimal in this episode.
Yeah, this is a really good episode. Yeah.
I don't find a lot of fault with it.
And it is, and one of the issues I think of that sometimes why people may have a trouble getting into Babylon 5 is it is hard to just pick up one episode and watch it.
Yep.
Right.
I think if someone watched this episode without knowing any of the backstory, they could be entertained, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there isn't the emotional context of all this building it.
That's a quandary of serialized television. Do you do standalones where it's easy for people to just jump in?
Yeah.
But maybe the long-term emotional payoff's not there, whereas with a serialized story like Fringe or Farscape or this series, you're with them, you're seeing them grow, you're seeing them knock down, you're seeing them get back up, and that you just get more emotionally involved with it. And but the problem is that the time or the price is the time commitment that you have to be willing to put into it is so much greater. But I find the time commitment often worth it if a series is well done.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. And, I think this one is worth it.
Yeah. And I really am glad that 3 seasons into this, you guys, even the first season, which has its ups and downs, you guys were enough that you go, oh, okay, this one is good. And now then, By the way, Adam Nimoy directed this one, which was cool.
That. Yes.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. And so with this, J. Michael Straczynski wrote every episode of the second season.
Of the third season.
Yeah, third season, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't go back.
And as far as he knows, that was the only time it's been that many episodes written by one person.
He must have been
at this point. He was. He talks about that. He was just exhausted because he still was showrunner too.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was like Mike Flanagan, and that was only 8 episodes, but he wrote and directed every episode of the Haunted of Hill House.
Yeah.
And he said he'll never do that again.
Yeah, absolutely.
He collaborates now.
Yeah. All right. Thoughts, questions, predictions. 4th season. First off, who is doing the narration? Okay.
And we don't know. We're guessing.
Yeah. I'm going to say Londo.
Maybe Jakar.
Okay.
I would lean towards Jakar because of that little soliloquy at the end of the episode.
I'd say Jakar for the 5th season.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I feel like there's foreshadowing with him talking at the end of this episode.
Okay.
Who knows?
Okay. All right. What else?
What's happening on Earth? I want to find out with the president. They haven't really gotten into that.
Yep.
It's not resolved, at least. So what are the impacts of that? And now that we know that the Shadow War is not going how they like, there's all those implications. Psychor, all that. I'm counting that as one thing.
Okay. All right. Lou?
I think Garibaldi's integrity, or that's not the right word, but his basic makeup or whether he's human or not is going to be a question next season. They're not going to find anything like they found with Anna, but there's always going to be this lingering doubt. And I think for Garibaldi, it might be the same issue. And somehow they have to tie it into his ex. We haven't heard anything about that storyline yet. And
Mars and all that.
The seasons are coming down to the last 2. They might
Okay.
save it for the final season. I
Okay.
think they might do that now that I think about it. I think he's on a different track next season.
Are they trying to plant him on Babylon 5, the shadows? Are they trying to change him enough to
Yeah,
make him a
yeah,
plant? That'd be
yeah. But
interesting.
and Garibaldi himself will wrestle with that. And God, I hope he doesn't take up drinking again because
Right?
that would suck. And he might be the outcast character next season, like Franklin was this year. So I hope he's not going to go on his own walkabout, but we'll have to see what happens there.
Let's hope not.
And I think Sheridan and Delenn are going to do some of their own shadow dancing next season.
Yep. Shadow dancing.
Wow, wow. And
Definitely.
Susan, I don't know what's going to happen with her. They got to give her a storyline too. She's
Marcus.
Susan and Marcus might do something there, but I don't know. Her walls are still pretty up.
Yep.
And after she got burnt with the telepath that left the show,
Yeah.
Right,
I can't
right.
remember her name. So there's that. As to the
Talia.
Talia.
Yeah.
As to
Talia,
the conflict, I think it's going to become more open and less shadow boxing. So
Okay.
Yep.
we'll see how that goes. And I think that's where I'll put my crystal ball to rest.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get into, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole here, but some like character development things that I'd
Okay.
like to see or that I wonder about.
Okay.
First of all, you said that Susan has walls up, definitely. And I think she's putting up some more after this whole thing with John and Garibaldi. We know she was close to Sheridan. So is that going to make her walls go up even more? Is she going to maybe lean on Marcus because we know that they have a connection? And I think she has felt that a little bit over the last few episodes, that she gets that connection now.
Okay.
So is she going to turn to him to help her work through all this? Who's going to lead Babylon 5? What roles? We see that Londo has a promotion. What is that going to entail? And he says he's going to split his time between Babylon 5 and Centauri Prime or whatever. Is he going to do that? They've dropped that little breadcrumb there. Jakar, I want to know where his journey takes him. He is definitely 100% on the side of Babylon 5 and the War Council. So what part is he going to play? And on the subject of Marcus as well, where is he going to fall in all this? I think we see that he's at least in the next season, right? Like he continues as a main character. And Zach, I'd like to see more of Zach too. So
yeah, and
I know as a side character,
one,
but
one short prediction. I think Sheridan and Garibaldi might not show up on Babylon 5 in the first couple of episodes.
Right. I thought the same.
Yeah.
So that's who's going to run Babylon 5 in the interim. Is it going to be Susan and Corwin, which I think will be interesting? Is Marcus going to stick his foot in a little more? Because they're not a military base anymore. They can pretty much have any of the War Council running.
Remember remember the chart he made on the poster board for.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Is Delenn going to step in? How is Delenn going to handle the fact that John hasn't come back? Or if again, I'm assuming they're not going to show up in the first couple of episodes.
Do you want to make if they're coming back? Do you want to make a guess on what
they
episode?
Are?
Yeah.
Third, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Garibaldi might come back first.
Okay.
And then
they might
John.
come back together.
Okay. You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still holding out on he's not a prisoner, he's a stowaway.
Okay.
Very.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I love that theory that he's attached because it's a ship. It's not him.
Yeah.
Like a person, like they absorbed the person.
Maybe the ship got absorbed and he's hanging on to outside of it with a spacesuit.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
So what is going to happen to him? Is he going to actually be changed by them, or is he doing something? And I'm assuming that ship leaves. So where does he end up?
Yeah.
Lots of things.
There is so much more than last time, which is good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just summarize. I made notes. Who is doing the narration? Karen says Jakar. Lou says Londo. What's happening with the Earth, President, the Psi Corps? Obviously, something's going to go on with the Shadow War. We're all hoping for better storylines for Garibaldi. We include Garibaldi's ex, but we think that's going to be a final season 5. Is Garibaldi a plant? Does Garibaldi start drinking again? Sheridan and Delenn romance continues to grow. Does Susan get a major storyline? She's got more walls building up. Does she lean on Marcus? Do Marcus and Susan get a storyline? More often, more open conflicts, because now then there's not as much in the shadows. Londo promotion, spending time in Centauri, question mark. Jakar storyline, more of Zach, and no Sheridan or Garibaldi in the first few episodes, and the consensus is maybe episode 3.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
All right.
So
nice.
Let's see in another, 25 or so weeks.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
How good we were on that.
Yeah, that was good last time. That was fun to go through.
I agree. I love that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
good.
cool.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We have feedback.
We do. I have
We have
two emails.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Hope Jesse has quit bouncing off the walls after the Rangers won the World Series.
Yay.
So why are you reviewing a crappy Olivia Newton-John movie instead of B5 season 3 finale? Oh, wait. That was Xanadu, and this is Zahadum. Okay, and I'm going to take issue with that, David. I love the movie Xanadu. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I loved it.
I love the Rush song, Xanadu.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. A soundtrack with ELO and the Tubes.
Yeah.
And it's just dumb not to love that movie. Don't say it's crappy. Okay. They say the wife is always last to know. And so the last episode has Anna Sheridan walking in on John and Delenn together in John's quarters. Awkward. A few questions. How did Anna know it would be Delenn? Do they have a source of information or gossip on B5? For some reason, I don't think Morden would have included that tidbit in any of his reports. Other possibility? Did they learn it from a psych or sleeper agent? Interesting. Ivanova and Jakar present Chekhov's really big guns, 500 megaton nuclear mines from Gayam. For a bit of perspective, the largest human nuke so far was 1/10 of that size. What is the plan for these? Yep. Sheridan is suspicious of Anna and has Franklin check her out thoroughly. Everything he comes up with says she is, in fact, his wife, DNA, fingerprints, etc. The only thing physically suspicious is scarring in the back of her neck, the same as found on the telepaths on Ship of Tears. Is it really Anna? What exactly did the shadows do to her? And why didn't Sheridan have Lita surreptitiously scan her, or at least make visual contact with her like he did with Talia? Does she also have shadows accompanying her too? That's interesting as well.
Yeah.
The discussion of Zahadum has reached an impasse. It is revealed that Anna isn't the same since she was a pilot of a shadow ship. Sheridan ends the discussion by pulling out a hidden PPG and shooting everything in sight. Battered and bloody, he makes his way to a convenient balcony. After a final scene with Anna, he hears Kosh telling him to jump. He pushes a button on his comm link, and we see the White Star fire up its engines, and 2 of the 500 megaton warheads start a countdown. He leaps from the balcony into what looks like a Sarlacc pit. I thought the same thing as well.
Yeah.
Anna looks up and sees the White Star rapidly approaching right as it detonates. Question, why did Kosh say jump? How does Sheridan survive, if he does? The blast from the nukes doesn't kill him. Then the fall definitely will. Will Bruce Boxleitner get a contract renewal for season 4? Yeah, I'm assuming they do.
Yeah.
I got a guess for that now.
Okay.
Kosh is going to activate John's time displacement issue.
Okay.
Because we know
like
that he has part of that inside of him still.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Right after the nukes explode on Zahadum, the shadow ships around B5 vanish, but not before one surrounds Mr. Garibaldi's Star Fury and leaves with it. Susan immediately senses that Sheridan is dead. Is her latent telepathy coming out? Did the shadows grab Garibaldi to become their new Morden? And you would think after what happened in the last war, before becoming the base of operations against them, they would have destroyed B5 to ensure it not happen again. Finally, we close out the season with the stirring monologue from Andreas Katsoulis. He does such an amazing job The moments of transition are often difficult and painful. Is he foreshadowing the season to come? I'm assuming yes. Guess you will start getting answers next week when, amongst other things, we start seeing what happens when you give the keys to the asylum to an inmate. Oh, that's interesting. I'm assuming he's alluding to maybe who's taking over B5.
Okay. I like that.
All right. So that's David. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
And now we're on. Oh, this is also David.
No, he sent send accidentally.
Oh, okay. So
Okay,
this
so,
is
yeah.
the same one.
Yeah.
So we only got one.
Yes.
Is
And
that-
no,
okay.
Texas a la shock. Did you not get the Texas a la shock?
I don't see it.
Okay. I think I forwarded, but
Hold on.
I can read it.
No, I got it.
Okay.
So Sheridan said if it was a trick, he would take it out of someone's hide. It was a trick, and he dropped a pair of nukes on him. Okay, yeah, follow through. Do not make that man mad. So did you guess this was coming? I don't remember if Anna surviving has come up in your discussions. No, I don't think it has it? Because we assumed she was dead.
We did
think that she was going to show up.
Yeah, your season 3 productions, that was one of the questions, is Sheridan's ex.
Is she going to show up?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at JMS's comments, it looks like they were originally going to use Beth Toussaint again, but it appears there were availability issues. Boxleitner was married to Melissa Gilbert at the time, so it just fell into place. This is an episode that really just has a single plot. There are a couple of side spurs here and there, Londo's promotion, for example, but it's mainly about Sheridan going to Hadum. Sorry. We've seen him act very irrationally when his wife's death has come up before, and we see that again here at first. Then we see the outrage die down to cold calculation. The enemy has opened their doors wide open, and it would be rude not to bring a housewarming gift, would it not?
Yes.
Yeah. Melissa does a great job, I think, of portraying a human that has become something else. Like when she pulls out the wedding picture, which is of their actual wedding, a side benefit of using an actual married couple, she looks puzzled. Again, when Sheridan and Garibaldi are talking, she looks like she's forgotten how to read human expressions. This is probably also why she asks for his sidearm, but doesn't think to check for any additional weapons. Yep. So the war has now come to a sudden halt, and isn't Jakar's monologue amazing? As both sides reassess the situation. What will they both do when the action starts again? We'll just have to see. Until next season, all hail the Egyptian god of frustration. All right, what does that mean? This is the Texas on the Shock signing off. Until Zahaveni in Valen's name.
Good.
Yeah. Nice comments, you guys.
Yeah, both of them. Great. How about anything on our YouTube channel?
A couple of comments have been pretty light since we had our unscheduled break. I'm hoping that once peeps get back into the swing of things, we'll start seeing some more. And most of the comments are surprisingly from Texas. He said the Egyptian blessing was from episode 204. Sheridan says it right before sending the Star Furies off to rescue the Cortez. It's good to know. And then, and I guess this is in reference to the Sheridan's balcony dive. Never underestimate what the human body is capable of when survival is on the line.
Good point.
500 megaton nuclear blast.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Vicini from The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
When death is on the line.
All right. So, Lou, if someone wants to reach you, how can they?
They can find us on YouTube at Lou's Reviews, where you find these podcasts, along with our JKL Media podcast, where we just finished 12 Monkeys, another excellent series for people to check out. I also have the Writers Podcast interviews up there, as well as Stephen King. And on Twitter, you can find me at Lou W. Sitzma.
All right. And Karen?
I am at Alvaria on the various social medias. Find me there. And there's a link in my bio to my blog, at which you can find on the landing page. There's a bunch of links for you, and I'll update that again soon. Lots of good stuff there.
All right. I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on the Twitter machine, aka X. You can hear me talk music on Set Lustig Bruce, John Hyatt on Perfectly Good Podcast, And next stop everywhere, we are set for all the new Who episodes. So Charles and I will be covering all of them. Thank you guys for listening. It means the world to us. We are so happy you've stuck with us through this first 3 seasons. We've got 2 seasons to go, then some movies to cover. So we are going to be sticking around for a while. And we appreciate the love and support. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Listeners, be safe, be kind, and we will talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good.
Scene.